But anyway, good evening and welcome to the Clayton City Council meeting for September 17th, 7 o'clock. We call it to order. And I believe we're all set to go. At first order of business is for the city clerk to call the roll call and make sure we have a quorum.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Cloven?
I'm here.
Tillman?
Here.
Juan?
Here.
Vice Mayor Trupiano?
I'm here.
Mayor Diaz?
Yes, I'm here as well.
Thank you.
And
Have
if
a
you'd all
quorum.
please stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, we can continue on with the meeting. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And before we get going, I want to welcome for everybody our new city manager, Chris Loftus. Here, he's sitting right over there. Glad to have him. Welcome aboard officially. And we'll now go into the all the order of business for this meeting. And the first thing that I'm going to call up before we bring up all of the students is we're going to hear from anybody that has any public comment that's not on the agenda, non-agenda items. And I know that we have a couple of cards here. Okay, there are two that I have, and I'm going to hold these two till the end of, and they're going to be related to candidates for running for city office. And I know we have two of us up here on the dais that are also going to probably want to speak, so I'm going to hold off on doing those until the end of public comment from our friends and neighbors out there in Clayton land. I don't see anybody with any hands up that wishes to address this august body. And then I'll ask the city clerk, do we have anybody online?
Currently, no speakers online wishing to speak to this item.
No, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you very much. And at this point, very briefly, I'd like to have each candidate for city office come up to the podium and give us about 3 minutes on yourselves. I'm going to ask for Maria Schulman to come up first. And there she is.
Good evening, City Council and staff. My name is Maria Schulman, and I'm running for City Council. I want to welcome Chris Loftus as our new city manager, and I wish you the best. I also want to thank the city staff for all their hard work and dedication during our transition period. Your dedication has not gone unnoticed. My family and I have been residents for nearly 17 years, and our daughter, who has gone to attended Mount Diablo Elementary, Mount Diablo View Middle, and recently graduated from Clayton Valley Charter High School. I'm the current chair of the Planning Commission and have been on the Planning Commission since 2022. I've also been volunteering in the community for years at the local schools and as a board member for the Clayton Library Foundation. I've also participated for years as the Clayton Cleans Up and Clayton Days of Service, and locally just for any senior who needed anything and not part of an organization, just as they need it. I put the order out there and they call me when they need me. I've been a nurse for 28 years working with medically fragile and special needs children, and a banker before that. And in both professions, I found it critical to work collaboratively with diverse populations to solve problems and tackle issues. And that's precisely the same way I will approach the position on the City Council. The community is the heart of Clayton and deserves proper accountability and transparency from its leaders. I plan on providing that to this community because I believe the residents of this community deserve someone that prioritizes them by balancing the budget, community collaboration, economic vitality, public safety, and accountability with transparency. I am running because, like most, I am tired of the conflict. I want to see the budget balanced, and I do not want a tax increase if it can be avoided at all costs. I am willing to get to work and make tough decisions while keeping residents informed. Let us make Clayton resilient and move our city into the future without divisiveness. I would appreciate your confidence in voting for me on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Richard Nania.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me the 3 minutes. My name is Richard Ania, and I'm also running for City Council of Clayton. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm a former police sergeant here, retired, worked many years in Clayton. Our kids went to Clayton schools, and I stay very busy in the community. I'm on the Planning Commission for the last 2 years. I'm on CBCA. We do the Oktoberfest, as you know, and the Art and Wine Festival, and other things. So I'm running for City Council for a few reasons. One of them is our financial stability. That's one of them. Public safety, of course, is another one. And keeping our town the way that we spent many years here, of keeping it stable and friendly and neighborly. That's why people move to Clayton. You sort of get a breath of fresh air when you come here after work from other communities. You come to Clayton where it's peaceful. You could walk around the streets. You can take your dog out to the various parks. My wife and I do that all the time. So the budget is very, very important. I'm a former city council member and mayor in Crescent City. We moved there after I retired, but we moved back and lived there for 10 years. So I've handled many, many budgets, and budgets are basically the same thing. They're line items. There's a police budget, there's public works budget, things like that. Those are pretty common to do. So that's one of the reasons, our financial stability, and we'll talk about taxes if we have to talk about raising taxes. And I don't see that for a few years, but who knows? Could be next year when we have to talk about it. It'll come when it comes up, it comes up. And the city has expenses. Some of those come up. They just replaced a $75,000 mower for the yard. The old one was 31 years old, and you couldn't find parts for it anymore. So if you want to find out more about what I'm about and what I'd like to see for the city, please visit my website. It's richardforclayton.com, or visit me on Facebook, Richard Ania for Clayton City Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. Ms. Tillman,
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Clayton.
would you like to address us from the podium?
Yeah, I was just going
Oh,
to
do I need-
suggest
oh.
the same. Thank you, Mayor.
That's more appropriate.
My name is Holly Tillman. I am a council member here in the city of Clayton, and I ran for the first time in 2020. I'm running for re-election, and I'm running because I want to make sure that our residents know not only do we have safe streets, and that's a priority for me, but also as well as a sustainable budget and safety for our trails. I am the liaison for the Trails and Landscape Committee. That makes sure that we have our maintenance for our trails as well as landscaping in our city. And a priority for me is making sure that we have a police department that is still here and that's funded by us and not outsourced. That's also a priority. And I also want to make sure that we have good governance in our city council. I have been advocating for that for over a year, for us to have training here for us. And ensuring that we're transparent. That's what I ran for in 2020. There was a time, and there still is, when our city's been divided and divisive, and I wanted our residents to understand why that is. That's also why I've been a vocal advocate for ensuring that residents understand what is happening in our town and voicing that. In addition, by day, I am a vice president of operations for a senior aging facility. So it's a nonprofit, and we advocate for seniors to make sure that they stay out of skilled nursing facilities. And prior to that, I was in the financial industry. And I was a client relations director for over 23 years. And that ensured that I was also putting myself in the shoes of our clients, which is what I do here for my constituents. I want to make sure that everybody understands not only are we elected officials, we aren't supposed to only serve one group or listen to one group who has the loudest voices. We should be doing what's best for the entire city. In addition to that, I also served as a vice mayor in 2022. I've also was the PFC president for Mount Diablo Elementary School when my children were students there. I was on the site council. I also ran the St. Bonaventure CYO program with my husband for 9 years. I'm also currently on the East Bay League of California Cities Executive Committee. I've helped run the Clayton Day of Service, as well as the Clayton Cleans Up with Councilmember Cloven. I have also served as the liaison to Mount Diablo Elementary School. I've done that since I've been on the council. In addition to that, I have also served currently I'm on the Mount Diablo Education Foundation Board as a board member. I've been doing that now for a year. I also sat on the Anti-Racist, Anti-Bias Committee, and I still do, for the Mount Diablo Unified School District. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the liaison, and I have been for 3 years, for the Trails and Landscape Committee, and that is the one thing that we have neglected for 4 years. It's important that we actually fund items that are important to our residents, and our trails are. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Tillman. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to turn the gavel over to Vice Mayor Kim Trupiano.
Thank you, Mayor.
And good evening to all. I am Jim Diaz. I've been on the City Council since 2012, and now I'm currently serving in the final stages of this term as mayor. My community involvement has included a number of issues or places that I have been the leader, particularly in the Concerts in the Grove. I did all the production work behind the scenes on that. There were other people that were out in front and talking to the patrons at that. I also chaired the Classic Car Show. The final one is coming up this weekend on Saturday. And then before that, I was the chair of the Art and Wine Festival on a 2-year occasion, as well as I chaired what was the Clayton Classic Golf Tournament. It's a tournament that lasted 30 years, and I chaired the last 4 to 5 of those before we decided it was time for a new event to take place in the town. I characterize my campaign as positioning Clayton for success. And to that end, I firmly believe in 3 strong goals. Public safety, number 1. We want to assure all of our residents that Clayton is a safe community to live in and to raise families, educate their children, and just enjoy the quality of life, which is number 2. Improving the quality of life. One of the things that I really hear a lot of input from our community is to have Clayton keep its small town and unique charm. So that is another one of my top goals. And that's one of my goals, and that's one of the things as not only mayor, but as a city councilman that I'm going to continue to strive for that. The final one, I believe I'm a good listener. I am very accessible to the community. I'm out there for, again, all of the Concerts in the Grove, at the Art and Wine Festival, at the July 4th Parade, and other events like that, where people can come up to me, ask questions, and if not, they can come to the website of the city, and my address is on there, as well as my phone number, and people can use that to reach me for questions, concerns, or other issues in the city. So in summary, I look forward to support from the community for another term in office, and that will be for my third and fourth term, rather, and look forward to continuing to support all of the strong things that this community stands for. A strong financial position, public safety, and all of the things that we have come to know and why we moved to Clayton. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. May I hand you the gavel back now?
Thank you.
There you go.
Okay, now that we have done the first part of the agenda, we have one that we need to take a look and go through, and that is what we call the consent calendar. And then immediately after that, I will go and open it up to the recognition of all the students that are here and their families, and Councilmember Cloven will take the lead on that, and that is always a highlight of having everyone come out and see their child recognized for their contributions to their school. It's a start. They move on from that, and as they go through all of their different phases, elementary school, middle school, and high school, they become better citizens at the end of that road. All right, now we'll move to the consent calendar, and again, these are items that are just generally routine items that we wish to address and approve to keep the city's business going forward. And there are A through G are the items if you don't have an agenda. And the first thing I ask for is if there's any item on this list that one of the council members would like to pull out and have some further dialogue with the city staff. Yes?
4F, please.
You're on.
Also,
Oh, you have one too?
also
Okay.
item C as well.
All right. Councilmember Tillman.
And item G, please.
Okay, and Councilmember Cloven.
So may I make a suggestion that we go ahead and just pass on the consent calendar and get straight to the right thing? So, because it could be some lengthy discussion, and I think they would like to go home and get to school, get it in the morning.
I will agree to that. Thank you for your kind suggestion. This is your city business in action. Okay. Councilmember Cloven, you're on for the recognitions and presentation.
So this has been a joy for me, because I've been involved with the Do the Right Thing program since when I came on the city council in December of 2020. Worked with C.W. Wolf, who was a mayor back then. But bottom line, what this thing is, gosh, 14 years ago this month, Mount Diablo Elementary, Diablo View Middle School, Clayton Valley Charter High School, which was just the high school back then, our city of Clayton and the police department, we all got together, we came up with this program called Do the Right Thing, where we had personality traits, or just traits, which we wanted to instill in our children. Kindness, integrity, responsibility. Well, tonight, we're actually celebrating the character trait of courage. And what we do is we ask the teachers and the principals to come up with students' names who represent that trait. And tonight, we're going to have Vicki Wilson from the middle school, and is it Miranda? She's right back there. Come on up. I'm going to turn this off.
Have you got a hand? Oh, you do. Okay, good.
We're going to start off with Miranda. Yes. Come on over this direction so everybody can see you.
Does it work? No. Hello?
Yeah. You may not be able to hear it, but you're actually on.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Hello. Yes, go ahead.
Introduce your students.
Perfect.
Tell me something about them, and then we'll give them a certificate.
Perfect. I'm Miranda Romo from Mount Diablo Elementary School. I'm the new vice principal, taking over for our principal, who is out on maternity leave right now. I have 4 students that we're going to recognize. Our first is Liana Kaplan, who is a first grader in Miss Moore's class. If Liana can come up here. Come on up here. So her teacher said, Liana shows great courage so far in first grade. She shared her Star of the Week poster with the class and led math calendar time. Liana raises her hand and participates, especially in math class. She has been very brave and is showing courage in first grade. All right, Liana. Thank you. And then the next up, yes, give her a big hand. And then we have Rogan Garvin. Come on up here, Rogan. He's a second grader in Miss Hopkins' class. Rogan has the courage to ask for help when he needs it. Even when things are hard, he finds it in himself to ask the questions he needs to learn and complete his assignments. His willingness to engage in his learning shows a great growth mindset. Congrats, Rogan.
Rogan, thank you for being courageous. That's for you.
And then I have Anthony Bowles, is a fifth grader in Miss Erickson's class. I don't think he's here. That student shows courage. New student this year in fifth grade, but that has not stopped him from showing kindness and consideration to all of his classmates. He has learned all of our school routines and is always ready to step up and be a helper. Being a new student can be scary, but Anthony has shown a lot of courage in joining our Mount Diablo Elementary family.
Congratulations, Anthony.
And then our last one is Tiago Chalavardo, a second grader in Miss Brown's class, which not here as well. I recognize Tiago for his exceptional contributions to our classroom community. His consistent responsibility, wise decision-making, and willingness to help others are truly commendable. His organizational skills and active participation set a positive example for everyone around him. The teacher thanks him for being such a fantastic role model and for making our classroom a better place. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Tiago. And thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I'll give those two to those. Yes, perfect. Oh, no. Oh, no worries.
We'll get it up on.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent. Vicki Wilson, Principal Wilson.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Vicki Wilson. I have the distinct pleasure of being the principal at Diablo View Middle School. And tonight I'm going to recognize 3 of our scholars who were nominated by staff members here at Diablo View. First, I have Kai Howard. Kai was nominated by Mrs. Brewington.
Come on up, Kai.
Come on up, Kai. So Mrs. Brewington says, the reason I chose Kai is his bravery every day, coming to class with a positive attitude and a belief that he absolutely can do the work. He was a bit timid in the beginning, but put a very determined and brave face on, and now he works very hard every day. I have many of his peers who did not attempt to rise to the challenge. I don't believe he knew a whole lot of people in the class in the beginning, but Kai has stayed engaged successfully in class and on academic level. So congratulations, Kai.
Thank you, Kai. Thank you for being courageous.
Good job, buddy. Next is Mackenzie Hill. She was nominated by Mrs. Parker. Mrs. Parker says, I have the pleasure of having Mackenzie in my core class. She always shows courage and never, ever gives up. She makes friends with everybody in the class and will join any group because she is so kind. She always volunteers to take roles in the class, even though sometimes I think she can be a little shy. She doesn't back away from a challenge, and I absolutely love her to pieces. What a great kid. So congratulations, Mackenzie.
Thank you, Mackenzie. For you, I'm going to replace it.
And our last student is Zareen Zafari, and she was nominated by our Alphas staff. Miss Deidre, Miss Haley, and Mrs. Gunter all nominated her for the award, and they said Zareen is an amazing office assistant, which takes courage to start with, as she is one of the very first faces that everyone, parents, students, and teachers, see during her TA period. She is willing to do anything that is asked of her and asks questions when she isn't quite sure what's being asked of her. Also, going into classrooms without disrupting the class is no easy task and takes a lot of courage. But Zareen does it with a smile that always brightens everybody's day. Zareen is an absolute pleasure to have in the office this year. Congratulations.
Congratulations, And again, I really want to thank the principals of both schools for being so actively engaged this year in this program. It's a joy to see these bright-eyed students and their parents come out and celebrate their accomplishments and for being recognized for these character traits. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Councilmember Cloven, for presiding on these events. Right now, we're going to have none other than our Vice Mayor, Kim Trupriano, and she's got a special presentation that she wishes to make.
Okay. Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me? Goodbye, everyone. Thank you. We'll kind of wait for everybody to filter out. Wonderful. So, I myself am the co-chair of the city-sponsored Special Events Committee with my fellow council member, Jeff Wan. And, you know, one of our traditions, as Mayor Diaz alluded to, is our Concerts in the Grove. This was our 17th year. And we decided to do something a little bit different this year. You know, normally it's city officials passing the jug and collecting money to help support the music. And this year we decided to share in those profits with our friends from the Parent Faculty Club from Mount Diablo Elementary School. And at this time, I'd like to invite them to come up because we have a wonderful check presentation, a real and a fake one. So, and don't let me forget to give you the real one. So we were fortunate enough, we had almost all of our concerts this year. We did have to cancel one due to the heat index. In July, it was like 108 degrees. But we were collectively able to collect over $12,000 this year and share 50-50 in those proceeds with the PFC, $6,158.38. So here you go. Thank you so much. And I can't thank the parents and the kids enough for all their hard work this summer. So take a bow. Sure. And I think we'll do one with the whole council if that's okay. But we also want to hear, how was the experience and what are you going to do with the money? Do you have any ideas?
I'm going to pass the money part off to Lindsay, our president from the PFC.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Lindsay Gage Ring. I am the board president at Mount Diablo Elementary, and I am joined by two of my incredible board members, MJ and Sarah. And we just wanted to say a big thank you. This was incredible. We had so much fun, and we really hope that we can do it again. We had a blast, and it was a really nice experience for the kids, too, getting an idea of working hard and the value of $1 and then bringing that back to their school. So fabulous experience. We can't wait to do it again. And I'll just speak really briefly about the money. This is an extra special blessing. Last year was actually the first year in quite some time we fell a little bit short of our budget of $125,000. And so this is a really nice sort of cushion just in case we need it. There were a few different reasons why we fell a little bit short, but this was a nice surprise that really will make a big difference. I will not spend the rest of your meeting going through our budget. We fund a lot of incredible stuff, and I'll just kind of highlight, we like to view ourselves as sort of the gap between what the district doesn't cover and what our teachers need. And that covers everything from instructional aides and resource teachers, garden instruction, stipends for every single staff, whatever they need. We do a lot of like reading supplementation and math programs. We cover a lot. We have a 2-page budget, and our operating budget this year is to raise $124,000. We are doing well this year, but again, this makes a really big difference as a nice cushion just in case things get a little bit rough. So again, thanks very much. We're super appreciative. It goes right back into the incredible teachers and our admin and these incredible kids who get to do really, really fun things. So thank you.
Really, thank you so much. And I do want to thank Maria Schulman, who's in the audience, because she was a superstar in helping the PFC collect money almost every week. And we really appreciate her efforts. Can we get a picture with the whole council in here? Would be terrific, right? Can we do that, Stephanie? Just set this down. Your elementary school, right?
Thank you all for the help you provided to the community and to the school. It was a really welcome new way to help keep the concerts going. Thank you again. All right, we will now return to the agenda at hand and go back to item number 4, consent calendar. Councilmember Juan has an item he wishes to pull and discuss. You're on.
All right. So item C was the item relating to the fountain operation. The only thing that I would call out here is I had a question. I think the item at hand is perfectly fine. The supporting documentation that's in the staff report is a bit outdated. Are we allowed to approve this item given that there's a little bit of a mismatch between the supporting file matched with our fee schedule, matched with what is reflected in the agenda? And that's kind of a question for Mala, I think. If it's okay to kind of authorize this item here specifically for the Clayton Historical Society's Halloween Home Tours event, then I would have no issue, as long as then we can come back and talk about aligning the documentation with what we're actually doing.
Councilmember Juan, can you just clarify what specifically is misaligned?
Sure. In the agenda packet, the supporting document reflects that the last time the fountain, I'm going to get the words wrong because my computer went to sleep, but the fountain policy or practice, I guess, was in 2002. However, it was amended in 2018 and then again in 2022. So it's a bit out of date, and then plus the amounts listed in the packet aren't reflective of our fee schedule. So I think it's mostly administrative. So my question is, are we able to approve this specific event and then come back later to address that item?
Yes, and I think if they're just factual issues, such as you noted the operational policy dates when they were amended, I think that's something we could do administratively and clean up.
Sure. Yeah, the items that were authorized in the 2002 schedule are different than the ones that are authorized in the 2022 schedule. So just administrative, I think.
And I think the other thing that we discussed earlier today was that the events listed do not match the application for the fountain. So if we could just align those things to make sure that they're reflective of one another, that would be terrific.
That was my only comment on this item. So if that's okay, then I'm good. Unless anyone else had an issue with that.
Okay.
And-
Now we're on to Councilmember Tillman, the item she wishes to discuss.
Your mic is off, Mayor.
Red light means on.
Correct.
Thank you, Mayor. So my item was item 4F, which was the authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Much More Than Consulting, not to exceed $80,000 for the interim finance and human resources. And so I was told right before our meeting started that this was amended this evening. I didn't see it until you told me that it was, because I was already on my way here. So can you tell me what changed? Let me tell you what my question was earlier today. My question earlier today was, it was very heavy on the human resources piece of it. And so my question was, I know that we had an analyst position that we kept open so that we can fill it with anything throughout the year. And so I asked Regina and then Chris, could they explain a little bit about the $80,000 for the HR piece of it, because it specifically mentioned Elsie, who is our HR consultant through this firm, and I wanted to understand how much time she would be spending for the next few months through the end of this contract, actually working towards that $80,000. And then Regina mentioned that it would probably be more like 50-50 for finance and HR, and I just wanted to understand a little bit more about how the roles would be split, and if that's really taking the place of the analyst position that we have. And I don't know what's different in this handout that's on my desk, because it looks identical to what I saw on the website earlier this weekend.
Councilmember Tillman, I apologize. I'm looking at it too, and it is absolutely identical.
What do we think was going to change?
There was a whole entire section in there.
Can I add one question to yours as well, or a statement more like? In the background section of the staff report, it lists that the city's human resource manager position is currently vacant. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think we have an open position for that role.
That is correct,
We have an
Councilmember
analyst.
Juan, and that was one of the items that changed on the staff report. And then there was an additional paragraph that was added that broke down the cost of the $80,000. Year to date, we've used about $53,000. The initial,
Fiscal year to date?
contract to date, because contract started last fiscal year.
Okay.
So can you,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. So if you can ask your question too, but can you give me the breakdown then of, we contracted for 30,000, you're now saying it's 53?
Correct. We
Okay.
contracted for 30. We spent approximately 52.5 to date on the contract. So that leaves us with a deficit. Give me 1 second, because I'm,
Okay.
So it also sounds like, too, because we had a lot of discussion, the three of us, Regina and Chris and I, on this today, that Adam, our interim city manager, used his $30,000 authority to bring on Much More Consulting, and I would still like to see the contract, because I haven't seen that yet. I know we're going to, you're going to provide us a copy of that as well as the amendment, but we used up that 30, and this is now the 80,000 is being backdated to June 2024, so we ran out of the 30, and that's covering Regina and LC until Regina joined our staff permanently on August 5th. And so I think it would be important to have a copy of the contract, a copy of the amendment, and a breakdown of what the 80,000 includes.
Yeah, when we did talk, I mean, in the agenda packet, it notes that we discussed this at the Budget and Audit Committee meeting, but what we discussed there was a lot less detail than is here, and I think that detail is a little bit amended. So I don't know if it's a fair statement to say that we've reviewed the whole thing. In terms of the contract, I think if we started in April, May, June at 52.5, the run rate there, 17, but if we're going 80 for the remainder of the 12 months, starting in July for the fiscal year, that's a run rate of 6. So I think what we're saying is the delta is because we filled your position full-time. But it would be nice, I think, to see the contract because it will show the statement of work, the deliverables, the timing, and what the spend is. I think that, to me, is like one of the, it's kind of the basis for the approval.
Councilmember One, I think we should pull this item and bring it back on October 1st.
That would be great.
And the very last thing was also, what we did talk about in the Budget and Audit Committee meeting last week was the 10 hours a week for the analyst position, and that wasn't in our packet either. So the breakdown, and that would be great, and we'll hold it until the next.
Sounds
meeting.
good.
Thank you.
And then, in addition to that, you mentioned that it was going to show more of a breakdown of what the actual work would be between now and the end of the month, so not just what was done, but what's going forward.
Correct.
It also include that in the October one. Thank you.
Everybody get all of their questions answered on this item, and did you have another one? I have one other question. Yeah, go ahead.
Item G is a pretty quick question. Now, we're going to spend $61,109 on some new computer equipment for the police officers' cars. My question is, when do we know that we're going to need to spend that? Not that I'm opposed to spending it, I just want to know when we knew we were going to have to spend it.
And we did ask the same question last
I mean,
week, too.
it's relevant because I just want to know, first answer the question, when did we know that that was going to need to be spent? And if we knew it was going to need to be spent prior to our June budget, why wasn't it included in the budget?
This was discussed during the budgeting process. What we didn't know exactly was when the city of Concord was going to require this. We thought that it could be this budget year, but it might not be till next budget year. And because of that unknown, we intentionally did not budget it, but knowing full well that if we needed to move forward with this, we could do a budget amendment at the time. We are at the whim of the city of Concord's police department because we are under their dispatch system. And these computers roll into their dispatch system.
So the intention is just to pull this from reserves, that's correct?
That was correct.
Okay, any other questions on the consent calendar? Are we ready to move forward? But before we do, thank you. We are open for public comment. Anybody in Hoyer Hall that wishes to address this item? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cloven, Councilman Cloven, for asking that question. I worked on those 20-odd years ago on the computer system that we had, started in 2000. And I was the administrative sergeant at the time for many years, and I worked with Concord Police Department all the time. They can tell you about when they're going to do it because their IT runs that. And there's computer software program and spyware and all that stuff, and they know when, just about when they can do it. So I would suggest for next year, which it probably won't happen for a few years, that we check every year to see how they're doing, because we have to replace those because it's part of Concord's system. But certainly within the next 4 or 5 years, it's going to have to be again. So that'd be my suggestion, is that we check every couple of years to see when that's coming up and plan for it. In fact, you might plan for it for the next 5 years. Put 10,000 in a line account because you know it's going to come. But that's the answer to your question.
Thank you. Any further comments on this from the public? Anybody on the line that wishes to speak on this issue?
There are no speakers online to speak to this item.
Thank you. Councilmember Juan.
Yeah, just as a, related to that, during the Budget and Audit Committee meeting, that is what we suggested in our go-forward budget process to assess these items that are larger in nature that we know will have to be replaced over time. They don't happen every year, but they will happen on a moderately predictable schedule. And so to start that process of assessing what those items are so that we could build essentially not a reserve is the wrong way to describe it, but we can set aside funds each year so that we can plan for it. That's really, I think, the go-forward plan.
Thank you. Anything else? No further public comment on this, which I'm going to close the public comment at this time and then bring it back to council for action.
I would move approval on item 4, sans item F.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. First moved by Councilmember Juan, seconded by Councilmember Tillman. And would the city clerk please take the roll?
Thank you. And that is for approval of items 4A through G, with the exception of 4F, which is continued to the October 1st meeting. Councilmember Cloven.
Aye.
Tillman.
Aye.
Juan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Tripiano.
Yes.
Mayor Diaz.
Yes.
Thank you. You have
All
5
right,
ayes.
thank you. That concludes item number 4A through G. And now we've already done the recognitions and presentations, although, as I mentioned with my meeting this morning with the city manager, we normally reference various celebrations of different kinds. And somehow the recognition for Hispanic Heritage Month, which started on Sunday the 15th through October 15th, left off. I'm just making note of it, not only because of the importance of that and the sizable number of members of our community that are Hispanic, but also this Saturday, there is going to be a car show that's in recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month from noon until 3 at the official City Park, 6095 Main Street, downtown Clayton. Okay, reports. Our brand-new city manager, Chris, you're up to bat.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Completing my second day today. Excited to be here and work with all of you in the community and the staff. There's a good amount of work ahead of us, and we're taking the approach of eating the elephant one bite at a time and making sure we do our due diligence and do things correctly. Happy to be here, happy to be a part of this team. Excited to be in Clayton. Thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to what is to come in the future.
Thank you very much. Welcome aboard again, and we look forward to working with you on your tour of duty as the city manager of Clayton. Looking forward to it. Thank you. Okay, that concludes the reports from the staff. We will now move on to item 7. There are no public hearing items. Item 8, there are no action items. And now we will move to item number 9, which is for council items limited to those council requests for a future agenda.
I have 2, please. One is for the next meeting that we have. The League of California Cities meeting is coming up in October, and we need to designate the delegates and also see if there's anything that we will be voting on for a resolution to bring forward to the council so that we can decide how we want to vote when the delegate goes to the meeting, which is, I don't have the dates off the top of my head. I think it's in the 3rd week of October, 2nd or 3rd week. And then the second is my request again for us to have not only governance training and ethics training, but to also bring back to the council a discussion on whether or not to hire a third-party investigator so that we can continue to keep the great staff that we have and to stop the turnover that we do have and understand why we had it. That's my request.
Thank you. Anyone else have an item? Yes, Vice Mayor Trupiano.
I have just 2 things very quickly. One is I wish we could have, maybe we can discuss this in our agenda setting meeting tomorrow, I wish we had a process and procedure in place for when the League of Cal Cities asks us to support certain laws. And I guess we can take a stance on those individually, but we never take a stance on them as a city. And so maybe we can get a policy. together for that. And the other thing is I'd like us, because it hasn't been updated since 2007, and this is not a priority, but to look at our sign ordinance in our city. I've had a lot of questions about signs and banners and what, not to do with the election, but in general. And I think Dana Ayers, when she was here, sent me our recent sign ordinance, which was from 2007. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
No, I'm just-
Councilmember Colvin.
I'm looking forward to that as well. I believe we've had discussions since I was on the planning commission about sign ordinances, and so it's been more recent than 2007. Just making a comment.
Thank you.
And I just want to add, on top of Councilmember Tillman's comment, I want to reiterate it. She's repeated it every meeting for as long as I can remember, and her request is being ignored, and I just want to acknowledge that.
Thank you. All right, that concludes council items for future agendas. And we move on now to item 10, which is council reports. And I'll start with Councilmember Cloven, if you'll begin on that.
Well, it's been a little bit busy. I want to go back to the 29th of August when I met with the CBCA for their general meeting. It was great to have hot dogs and ice cream from our Sip and Sweet and have a good conversation. Obviously, Oktoberfest is front of mind as that's coming up on October 5th and 6th, very, very, very close. And that's going to be an incredible event that brings people from all over into Clayton. It's a great event that people see Clayton for the first time a lot of times. And I can't tell you how many people who have actually moved to Clayton because of their actually being here for that event for the first time. So just put that on your calendar for the 5th and 6th. I still have blisters from raking on Clayton Day of Service on September 7th. I really appreciate the planning commissioners and the council members that were here, as well as the public. We did some serious raking of the library and taking off all the down leaves and duffs and putting it in 50 bags of leaves. And then at the dog park, our home favorite, Jim Warden, dumped a bunch of wood chips and said, "Hey, go ahead, spread it all over the place." So we did. 3 hours in the hot sun, we spread wood chips all over the dog park. And then we had some high school students who also went up to the elementary school and helped with the gardens up there. It was a small but mighty group. I'm looking forward to that event getting some traction next year. I'm still going to bring it and head that, even though I won't be on the council next year, because I really enjoy bringing Clayton together, working together as one. But this year on 9/11, we had the Clayton Day of Remembrance. It's the second time where the Contra Costa County Fire Protection District has chosen our fire station to be the central location for remembering 9/11 and their fallen firefighters and service members. It was good to hear the mayor speak. It was good to hear the fire chief speak. It was good to have a public there in a solemn moment of remembrance. I had a chance to speak. I still have an indelible imprint of that day in my mind, and so it means a lot to me to be there and to create the day of service before that, as well as to be there for the day of remembrance of that. And I appreciate Clayton for and the Fire Station 11 for continuing to put out the flags and having that to be a beacon of remembrance for our city. I attended TransPAC meeting on 9/12, the day afterwards, and I'm highly involved in Clayton Pride. I'll be the parade lead next year, and we're working hard towards becoming a 501c3 as its own entity, and that's exciting and daunting at the same time. So, and lastly, just want to, it's the Clayton Historical Society has consistently done fundraisers. They only get funds from the fundraisers they do, which has been the garden tour during the spring and the holiday house tour they do during the holidays, of course. They are trying something new, and it's going to be fun, which is on October 19th. They're doing a Halloween house tour. There's 5 or 6 houses that are decorated with Halloween decor, both inside and out, both good for the adults and the kids alike. So it's a great way to support a historical society. They need the funds to run their operations. So just put that on their calendar. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Juan.
Yeah, both, I think I'll have some similar things as Vice Mayor Tripiano, but we had quite a few budget and audit committee meetings, as we kind of talked about earlier today. We met with Climate Tech, and we've had monthly meetings at Climate Tech. There hasn't been that much of an update. Recently, there's some administrative things that have caused some delays in our expected timelines. There's a potential that it could maintain the timelines that we had shared earlier. However, given some of those, I do think that there is some challenges that were unforeseen at the time, and that mostly has to do with easements and a lot of other government stuff that isn't very exciting. But the plan is to soldier on, and what we had originally intended will come forward. It just will take a slightly longer amount of time. So, and that, along with a lot of email and discussion with constituents, that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Tillman.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended, as Councilmember Cloven mentioned, several of the same things, so I won't belabor those. A lot of Clayton Pride Board meetings, also the Clayton Day of Service, and my abs still hurt from raking. The annual memorial, or the Day of Remembrance as well. I also wanted to thank our Clayton Police Department, because I believe you guys also have the flags that you guys put out, so thank you for that. On the 26th of August, I attended a funeral mass for Mike Banducci, who was a longtime Clayton resident who passed away. And if we can close out tonight in his honor, that would be great, Mayor. He owned the toy shop that used to be down the street, and he is left by his wife, Christine, and their 2 children, Annie and Joey. They're adults, but he was just a kind soul who never had a mean word to say about anybody. So that was on August 26th. On the 7th of September, I also attended, in addition to the Day of Service, the final farewell lunch for the AAUW Clayton branch. I mentioned to you guys a few times that they were disbanding, and that was our last luncheon. So unfortunately, we'll have to now join another local branch in a neighboring city. On the 9th, I had my Mount Diablo Education Board Foundation meeting. We are now trying to figure out ways that we can continue to support the Mount Diablo Elementary garden. That's something that has been happening for many years. In addition to that, we also have in our middle school and our elementary school, we we give them donations for their math and science materials, and we want to be able to continue that as well. On the 15th, which was this past Sunday, I got to go tour the tarantulas with the Mitchell Canyon Visitor Center. So that was a highlight of me living here for 21 years. I have never seen one in person, and I was thrilled to find 3 of them up there with them. And then I had my meeting today with Regina and Chris. And Chris, even though I didn't get to say it publicly as you were sitting here in this meeting, we are all thrilled that you were here. So thank you. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Tripiano.
And I have to share that one year I was awarded the tarantula naming contest at the state park. Her name was Harriet, and I got to hold her. So I do have a picture of that. It's a lot of fun. Just very briefly, weekly meetings with our, you like that, Chief? Weekly meetings with our city staff, then Adam, Regina, now Regina and Chris today. It was a great meeting. Thank you, and Chris, welcome. We're so delighted to have you and thrilled. We did have an agenda-setting meeting on August 21st. Also, Councilmember Juan and I had a city-sponsored special event committee meeting on August 26th, and this was to do a couple of things, do a recap of the 4th of July parade. Sandy Johnson has found a replacement for herself next year in Sarah Brinkman, And so we are going to be working, we've got a lot of 4th of July notes, we've got some spreadsheets. We are going to be putting a manual together for Sarah before next year's parade. Chief and I and Sergeant Shaw and I went out to a residence home in Dana Hills to talk about some potential maybe traffic calming measures. There's been a couple of accidents on Mount Air Circle there, and thanks both for coming out with me that day. Also, the library, Clayton Community Library Foundation had a meeting. I was unable to attend that day, but I am helping them with the candidate forum, which will be on October 2nd here in this room at 7 o'clock. And thank you to Stephanie and Regina for helping me with all the coordination that involves. September 3rd, Mayor Diaz and I'm going to let him speak to this a little bit more, and our Assistant City Manager, Regina, had a meeting with Fire Chief Burchard and Deputy Fire Chief Aaron McAllister about our CERT and emergency preparedness, so I'll let you address that. And I know that our, just an update on our library refresh, I wasn't able to attend this meeting either, but the working group did have a meeting to kind of move the library refresh conversation along. That was the county, the city, and the foundation. So more to come on that. And our Budget and Audit Committee meeting met last Tuesday. We also followed that by another city-sponsored special event finance meeting. We're almost done with the final draft of that. We still have some expenses coming in for the Lowrider Car Show this weekend. And then the 9/11, thank you for coordinating. Thank you for speaking, Mayor. It was a beautiful ceremony and a great remembrance of our fallen firefighters and 9/11. And finally, we did have our Climate Tech meeting, and the only thing I want to add to that is that Climate Tech is planning on coming back and giving all of us an update. We were hoping for October 15th, but it's only if they have something substantial to report on. And that is the end of my, oh, and I just want to say that Clayton Valley Village is having their annual dinner in October at La Veranda. Does anyone remember the date? I forgot to write it down, but 20th, thank you, Maria. Sunday the 20th at La Veranda, 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, that's it. That's enough.
Thank you very much. It was a long time between meetings, and so there was a lot of things to get accomplished. First of all, back on the 21st and 22nd of August, we had a couple of events with the former interim city manager, Adam Pulsler, and we gave him a grand send-off, and it was a great day. Later that evening, I attended an event that is something that we ought to really communicate to our senior members of our community. There's an organization in Concord called the Contra Costa Senior Legal Services, and they provide pro bono, free of charge, certain end-of-life documents that you need to have in place so your family is not burdened when that issue comes. And they have a tremendous amount of volunteer legal people, including some sitting judges, that actually help oversee this. And it's quite an operation. I'm going to send something to Stephanie so we can make sure everybody can put it on the website so people know how to access. I'd never heard about them before, but they are very active, and they had a wonderful event to explain all the things that they do. On the 29th, I was out at, before that, I was out at the Olivia Project. There was an issue out there with a number of our citizens, and so I met the next day with Daniel Hartertz. But anyway, our interim community development director to address the issues. And I'm glad to see now all of a sudden there are signs out there again saying that it's being overseen by some company. I don't remember what the acronym is, but I believe it is Kennedy and Associates, who we need a report from them sooner than later. We had the final concert. I know that Vice Mayor was there, and these wonderful people from the school with their children out there actually collecting money. They collected a huge amount over the number of the concerts that we have. That was the final one on 31st with the East Bay Mud. On the 4th of September, I attended my operations and scheduling committee meeting of the County Connection. Bus service is moving forward. There are services, another one for seniors that they may not realize is available, but for a small fee, $5, they have these smaller buses, and they will pick you up and take you to your medical appointment, take you to the pharmacy to get your prescription. It's a wonderful service. And by the way, we're going to try and tie them together with the Contra Costa County Fire Protection District. We had a meeting with the chief and one of the deputy chiefs, and I didn't realize this, but there is a huge overuse, improper use of ambulances by many of our community, and it delays really important calls that they must attend to. So I'm going to be bringing both Con Fire and the County Connection together. Everybody's up for it, and we're going to try to come up with a way to deload the fire ambulance issues and make it more official, better use of the resources, so people can get to their medical appointments or get to their pharmacies. On the 5th Mayor's Conference in Walnut Creek, very good meeting there. On the 7th, as Councilmember Cloven mentioned, they also attend the service day on the 7th, on that Saturday morning. And it was a great event, but I never realized how that dust affected all of my systems. I was going through more tissue than I could believe, but we got a lot done there. And that's one thing we need to look into, is why it's on city property, or we own that library. Why aren't we having a stronger presence in helping maintain that? So that's a future item thing. On the 11th of September, once again, attended the fallen firefighter and the 9/11 memorial ceremony. One of the things I didn't speak to when I had the privilege of making some remarks, I don't know if you all remember on that day, the government closed down the airspace. No planes were allowed to come in from Europe or any other place. It was completely dead. I found a video. There's a place in Newfoundland called Gander. It's an international airport owned by the Canadian government. That's where they sent all the planes that they wouldn't let into the United States. Fascinating documentation on that. But it was a very serious day, and I agree with Councilmember Cloven. We need to get that spirit back, and I don't know how we do it, but we need to get that spirit back. We're all working together on the same team. On Friday the 13th, the EBRICS, the East Bay Regional Communications System Authority, that I represent the Mayor's Conference on, we had a very good meeting. We're going to be planning a full half day on just some of the transition things that we need to do. For those of you that don't know what that body does, we oversee the communication system for Alameda and Contra Costa County, so that they're able to talk to one another if there was a situation that required that. Today I met with our city manager for the first time as an official job that he's now in, taking the leadership over of our city staff. We welcome him, and that concludes my report. And I am going to look. The next item is an adjournment, and we're going to adjourn to the meeting on October 1st, and it's 8:09 p.m. And I'll adjourn. Yes, who has to speak?
In memory of.
Oh, go right ahead.
Yes, just wanted to adjourn in the memory of Mike Banducci. Thank you.
Okay. And we so do. Good evening.